Monday, April 28th, here on the Just Baseball Show. That's Arm Layden. I am Peter Apple. And just like we do on every Monday, Arm, get those fingers ready. Welcome to the weekend Roundup, where we go through every game that was over the past weekend, as well as our takeaways from every series that was. And it is all brought to us by the sportsbook Born in Vegas. Remember, folks, use promo code Just Baseball on BetMGM for that first bet offer up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first wager loses. But remember, gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 years or older. Terms and conditions apply. I highly recommend watching this episode on YouTube so you can admire it. Arm's hat, the Seabird's hat. He even told our group chat he's getting a lot of compliments on it. It's hard not to. It's not quite as good as the Just Baseball hat I'm
No,
wearing, but
not
it's a close
quite.
second.
Not quite. I had to just let people know that because I stole it from Ben. It's like an alternate hat from the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, which is crazy that Ben Bellotti, our YouTube extraordinaire, found that hat before I did, considering I'd been watching Jumbo Shrimp games for like years now. And once I saw it, I was like, I need to buy that. It kind of looks like Dolphins colors anyway. So this is the only hat I'll kick the Just Baseball hat off for every once in a while here on the show. But yeah, definitely check out the merch store as well. That's been revamped and got a lot of new stuff in there too.
Do you want to start with 30 minutes on the Dolphins draft,
Oh
or should we
hell
just
no.
get straight into the weekend roundup?
Yeah, a lot of opinions going around on Shador Sanders. We should probably break that down, right?
And then after we'll do a LeBron versus Jordan debate, and then we'll see what Stephen A's thinking.
Oh God, yeah. It's rough times for me on that front. I'm honestly getting more joy watching these like young pesky Marlins, which we're going to talk about, than what the Dolphins may end up doing this year. And don't get me started with the Heat punting a first round pick so that they could go get walloped in the first round of the playoffs.
No, no,
It's
don't
insane.
worry. I won't get you started on the Heat. You'll get yourself started.
Yeah, no, please. Let me the Braves Diamondbacks. We'll start there. Really fun series for a lot of reasons, and like we're gonna start with a bang, or four, but we'll get to that. Game one, Braves win 8-2. Chris Sale earned his first win of the season, pitching 5 innings, allowing just 1 run while striking out four. Eli White and Austin Riley each contributed 2 hits and 2 RBI, while Michael Harris added 2 hits and scored twice. Nice to see him starting to heat up a little bit. Zach Allen took the loss, but it was a solid outing. Otherwise, from besides the 3 run second inning, he went 5 innings of 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks. But yeah, 8-2 finish there. Braves win. Game two on Saturday, much closer, but it was an extra innings affair as well. The Braves rallied from a 6-2 deficit. Eli White, again, 2 run homer in the seventh, and Michael Harris's 2 run double in the eighth gave Atlanta a late lead. After Eugenio Suarez tied the game with his fourth homer in the ninth, Matt Olson delivered with a winning run in the 10th, scoring from third on a wild pitch. Raisel Iglesias secured the win still, which is funny. I always think that's hilarious when you have that happen when you blow the save. Dylan Lee earned his first career save. But the story of this game was what sent it to extras was Eugenio Suarez's 19th, or excuse me, fourth homer. He was the 19th player ever to launch 4 homers in a game. It's more elusive, especially nowadays, I think, with relievers that you have to face. Like, so it's ridiculous that Suarez was able to do that. But I think he was also the first guy to ever hit 4 homers in a game and lose, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he was the third ever. So you got Ed Delahanty in 1896 for the Phillies, who hit 4 home runs and they unfortunately lost. And then in 1986, Bob Horner hit 4 home runs for the 86 Braves and came up with a loss. So third player ever to hit 4 home runs in a loss, and he's the first guy to hit 4 home runs since former Diamondback JD Martinez. So
Yeah.
that's also a cool little wrinkle.
It's rarer than a perfect game.
Yep.
He's the oldest player to ever hit 4 home runs, and he's the first Venezuelan to do it in a game. So that was cool to see. And I mean, when that guy's hot, it's hard to stop him. But even then, they still come up a little bit short. I mean, when you have a guy hit 4 home runs and you only score 7 runs in 10 innings, like it's gonna be tough sometimes to win those games. Game three, the D-backs do salvage and get one back. And it was off of a lot of offense in the beginning. but not all in one inning. It was kind of like one each inning. They scored a run in the first, the second, the fourth, and the fifth innings. Entering the seventh inning with a 4-1 lead, the Braves got two back, but then the Diamondbacks matched it immediately in the home half of the seventh with a Josh Naylor 2 RBI double. That ultimately was the difference because the Braves did get one more back in the top of the ninth, but that was it. Corbin Carroll hit two triples. I'm pretty sure he beat his already record setting time from home to third. It's insane. Anything in the gap, he's on triples watch. Geraldo Perdomo homered as well. And then Josh Naylor, 3 for 4 with two doubles. He might be one of the most underrated performers so far this year. Like
Yeah.
his numbers are absolutely insane. It was a pretty good pitching matchup. Spencer Schwallenbach, Brandon Pfaadt. The D-backs kind of grinded out Schwallenbach. 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned, 1 walk, 6 Ks. Brendan Pfaadt scattered 9 hits over 6 innings, but only allowed 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. So I think it was an encouraging series from the Braves, considering it's been, pretty rough out of the gate to go to Arizona and take 2 out of 3 there. But for the Diamondbacks, nice to get one back, and I mean that offense is just always going to give them a chance.
I know I was freaking out early about the Braves, and I thought it was at least for good reason. Of course, freaking out about anything this early on in the season is pretty stupid, but when you watch a team with so much talent and they're healthy for the most part, look as bad as they were, I just couldn't understand it. So whenever, I would talk about the Braves, it came from just pure confusion. Like, how is this not working? And then now what you're starting to see is even when the Braves don't even play their best, their talent just overwhelms you. And that's what I expected from the Braves team when I called them far and away the second best team in baseball when we started this season. So it's good to see the Braves just look like the Braves again. And if you're the Diamondbacks, to be completely honest, throw this one out the window. AJ Puck goes down. Your bullpen is not as good as it should be. It will eventually get better. You're still dealing with a couple of things that you got to work out. The offense was pretty good in this series, enough to keep everybody entertained, and they dropped 2 out of 3 to a Braves team who absolutely needs these wins. And some good news for them is that Ketel Marte, it was actually just reported 5 minutes before we press the
Oh
record
well.
button that he's going to be back within the next week. So if I'm a Diamondbacks fan, throw the dirt over your shoulder. You'll be totally fine. And if you're a Braves fan, like keep up this momentum
Yeah.
because you know how good you are. We can all see it.
Yeah, it's signs of life there too. And I wouldn't be shocked if Jordan Lawler is on the way sooner rather than later as well. He is destroying, destroying in AAA. 16 for his last 33, and he's walked more than he struck out in that span. He could be a guy that ends up kind of moving around the infield for them as well. So they've got reinforcements coming, but I agree. It's the bullpen side of things that you got to monitor. And for the Braves, though, the one pushback, or I guess like drawback in this series was Raisel Iglesias blows a save. He blew a save at the end of in one of the games in the Cardinals series as well. He hasn't looked as sharp in the early going this year. Of course, they're going to need him to be sharp in the back end of the bullpen.
It's so funny. Nobody has a good closer right now.
It's insane. It's
Only the
actually
A's.
crazy
Only the
across
A's
the
do.
game.
Only the A's do. Mason Miller is the only guy who could close out a ninth inning right now.
It's wild. I was thinking about that earlier today when I watched the Yankees, adjust and have
Yeah.
Luke Weaver in the closer role. And then you have several other ball clubs that are kind of in the same spot
Manuel
with
Class
their guys.
A.
Class A relegated.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Rangers Giants was also a really tight series, and this was very pitching centric. Game one was the most pitching centric. Nate Eovaldi was the main reason why. A masterful performance, 6 shutout innings, just 3 hits, a walk, and 7 strikeouts. I mean, that was the tone setter, I think, for the series, but also that game, the Giants weren't able to even get on the board because he handed it right over to the bullpen and they did their job. The Rangers didn't need much. One run would have won it. They scored 2. Langford contributed with an RBI double. Jock Peterson added an RBI single. Thank goodness he got going in this series. On the other side, Justin Verlander was good. He pitched 6 innings for the Giants, allowing 2 runs, but received no offensive support there. Back-to-back good outings, though, for Verlander. Unfortunately, no wins to show for it. Game two, Giants win 3-2 on a walk-off. It was pretty wild to watch because the Giants rallied from a 2-run deficit, and at the end, we'll get to both walk-offs, but Willie Adames tied it with a 2-run single in the 5th inning, and then in the ninth, Patrick Bailey delivered a pinch hit walk-off single, scoring the winning run. Robbie Ray was excellent. He pitched 7 innings for the Giants, allowing 2 runs and striking out 8, and of course, Bailey with that pinch hit walk-off there. Then in game three, 3-2 again, another walk-off winner, but it looked a little bit different this time around. Jake Berger and Jock Peterson doubled in the first inning and were both driven in by a Marcus Semien RBI single to make it 2-0 right out of the gate. But the Giants got one back in the first and another back in the fourth. That tied things up at 2-2, and it stayed there until the ninth when Elliot Ramos walked it off with a Little League home run. I know you posted that video and was like, this is one of the crazier finishes you'll see, but you'll take it. And that was the series for the Giants there. They win it there 2-1. Jack Leiter made his return from the IL, and he definitely battled some command issues in that one, coming off of the blister issue. I'm sure it was probably weird just feeling the ball back out of his hand again, and was able to survive, but that probably put the Rangers a little bit back, not being able to have Leiter go 5 or 6. Jordan Hicks turned in his best start of the season since his first start of the season, going 5 innings of 2-run ball.
I am drunk on this Giants magical potion that seems to lead to a walk-off every single game. Now, it's not quite the 2021 Giants, led by Buster Posey, who won 107 games. I don't think they'll get to that point. But right now, you can tell this is a Giants team that never counts themselves out. And that's an element of all great teams. And the Giants, they aren't just doing this against random teams and it's such a random occurrence. They are 15-7 against teams over 500. They're beating good teams, and when they go down against good teams, they're coming back and fighting, and everybody's getting involved. The emergence of Jung Hoo Lee, Matt Chapman is still a star. I mean, Willy Adames hasn't even gotten going yet, and
No.
this team is 19-10. Camilo Doval in the bullpen is right back to being that elite reliever that we know he can be. The rest of the bullpen is awesome. And again, Ryan Walker isn't even off to a good start. We're talking about bad closers to start the MLB season. So I'm just so drunk on this Giants team. They are, besides the Cubs, I think, the most fun team to watch in baseball right now.
Second in bullpen ERA, so they're never really out of it. And then you mentioned what they've been doing just to have such a great start to the season and be hanging right around the top of the division. And they're doing that. You mentioned Adames 540 OPS entering Sunday. Patrick Bailey is sub 500 in the OPS department. And like those are key guys for you that are going to be better. Lamont Wade is below 500 in the OPS department. So like they're going to get other guys going here. Ramos as well is below 700. So it's interesting. Like you could start to buy into this team a little bit more too, because you could argue that they're not even playing at the best of their abilities. And I think you could also argue that the rotation can be a little bit better than the 4.22 ERA that they entered Sunday with. And we're starting to see them trend better in that regard.
Before we quickly move on to the next series, I just want to ask you a quick question because I just bet on the Mariners to win the division 3-1.
Yeah.
I really like this team, and we're going to talk about them in a bit. I don't even know what do you think about the Rangers? Like, it's like they're pitching well, but then they're not hitting. But also, how long will the pitching last? But how long will the offense continue to kind of sputter around? Like, there's no way Marcus Semien is going to continue to be as bad as he has been to start the year, right? He even got kicked out of the leadoff spot a few games ago. I just don't even know how to grade this team because they're 2 games over 500, but they also have a negative 15 run differential. I just have no idea how to do anything with them right now.
Well, I understand why, because they're the exact opposite of what we thought they would have been going into the year. They're third in starting pitching ERA and they're 11th in bullpen ERA, but they're 26th in batting average and they're 29th in on base percentage, like, and 23rd in slugging. That's not what we would have expected. I think you're going to see the offense heat up, but then you're probably going to see the pitching give way a little bit. But I still think that's going to result in them probably performing a little bit better. I think the fact that they're 15-12, given how slow the offense has started, I do think it's a positive overall. Like, they're going to swing it better, and you hope that the pitching can be anything near this, and you're in a good spot. But like Langford back and healthy and swinging it well, like I think that's going to be a huge part of this. And he just rejoined them. But it is interesting losing Seager again. Like, how much is that going to affect you? And obviously, when you're not playing the best offensively, it's a little bit tough to lose a guy like that. I still do feel really good about the Rangers because of everything that's been coming together pitching wise. But I will say, just the Mariners just had a really impressive series that we're going to talk about in a moment. And I think for the value that you got it at, I think that was a good play But if I were you, I'd still be worried about the Rangers.
I'm still worried too, but also technically they're 15 and 13 now after Heliot Ramos crushed an infield hit to the pitcher and came around to score on a Little League home run.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's gonna be interesting. I think this division is gonna be those two duking it out, and maybe the Astros hanging around enough, but I do think these other two teams are a little bit more talented.
Yeah.
We'll go to the Red Sox Guardians series.
Mm.
And we had a doubleheader because of the weather. So both games on Saturday and then the Sunday game. But game one was and originally scheduled for Friday, rained out, and the Red Sox jumped ahead early with a 3-run homer by Wilyer Abreu in the first inning and a solo shot by Rafael Devers in the third. The Guardians responded with a 4-run first as well, though, highlighted by RBI singles from Jose Ramirez, Gabriel Arias, and Daniel Schneemann. Stephen Kwan delivered the decisive blow with a tie-breaking RBI single in the sixth inning, and Cade Smith, the new closer for now, secured the save by retiring the heart of Boston's lineup in the ninth, 5-4 win for the Guardians. Then game two, Red Sox answer back. In the evening game, Boston's offense really came alive. Jarren Duran, who's waking up offensively, led the charge with 3 hits, including a triple and 2 RBIs. He also stole home again. Like, it's been really like fascinating seeing his willingness to do that. That's a third career steal of home for Jarren Duran. Devers added 2 hits and an RBI, and Walker Buehler improved to 4-1, allowing 3 runs over 6 innings. Doug Nikhazy struggled in his big league debut. He allowed 6 runs over 3 innings, but he's a pretty good lefty that I think will be better than what we saw there in the first time out tough matchup against a good Red Sox lineup who flexed their muscles again on Sunday, scoring 13 runs. They won 13-3 in the final game. I'll just give you some of the highlights there because it was all Boston for the entirety of the game. Ceddanne Rafaela, probably one of his better games he's had as a Red Sox. He drove in 5 runs, including a 3-run homer in the 7th inning. Jarren Duran continued to mash 4 hits and an RBI, consecutive games with at least 3 hits for him. Rob Refsnyder and Rafael Devers both hit the solo home runs. And then Christian Campbell had a phenomenal game. He just, every time you think he might slow down, heats right back up again, 2 for 2, 2 RBI, and 3 walks. He scored 4 runs. And then Brian Bayo, been much better than I would have expected coming off the IL. Another good one, 6 innings, allowing 3 earned runs, striking out 4, and earning his second win of the season. Was not good for Logan Allen on the Guardians side. He gave up 7 runs over 4 1/3. And defensively, the Guardians have not been playing great defense the last couple games. They committed 4 errors, first time since August of 2023. But Nolan Jones did finally get one out and starting to maybe get it together a little bit at the plate. He hit a 411-foot 3-run shot in the 6th, but that was all the offense for the Guards.
Yeah, I didn't really have many takeaways from this series, especially when it's a 3-game series and 2 of those games are double headers, and one of
Yeah.
those games is started in for a guy making his debut, and then they split it, and you're like, all right, then we move on. Then the last game of the series just ends up being a crazy one. 2 things that I wanted to touch on. Number 1, Austin Hedges struck out Rafael Devers. That was sick. That was sick. 78-mile-an-hour like two seam. It kind of looked good. So maybe Austin Hedges finds another career as a reliever on the mound. Number 2, the Jarren Duran situation I thought was so shitty from that Guardians fan. So during that last game, a fan yelled something at Jarren Duran, and he had to be held back by umpires, by coaches. He was going at it with a fan. And at first, you have no idea what's going on, right? You
Yeah.
assume the fan said something stupid and Jarren Duran is overreacting, right? That's your first sense, like, because you don't know what was said. But then we
Yeah.
find out later that that Guardians fan was chirping him about his suicide attempt,
Yeah.
which cannot happen.
No, it's insane.
Insane for a fan to bring that up to a guy on the field. And knowing that, Jarren Duran's reaction was completely justified.
Yeah.
That cannot happen. Point blank, period, end of this segment. Like,
Yeah. It's just like, what's the point of doing something? It's a baseball game.
it's a
Like
baseball game.
this, he opens up and shares something like that, and like that's why people don't want to do that, right?
Yeah.
Like it's going to be used against you, and when you're trying to do your job, it's just bizarre stuff, and it's disappointing. And I think they clearly were able to figure out who it was. So I'm hoping that I think it was a gentleman is not allowed back to that ballpark anytime soon, or maybe ever, because that's just a different level of fucked up. And I just don't get the point of it for, over a game of baseball.
And it's going, all these things are going to happen again. Stupid drunk fans
Yeah,
wanting to be the center of attention. We remember, with the Yankees in I think it was in the World Series where those two guys reached over and tried to get the ball out of Mookie Betts' hand. That was terrible because that was physical. And this is the same thing, right? You're going way, way, way too far. These fans should just never be let back in the stadium. And it's a good message to enjoy the game, drink your beers, but there's no need to say dumb shit like that.
they're
You can
not.
chirp for fun, call someone a bum or be like, you struck out. Like, keep it fun. Don't use that bullshit in
Yeah,
our game and make the fans seem.
they're human beings, not zoo animals. It's just
Exactly.
it's bizarre, and I would like it. That would be cruel to a zoo animal.
Exactly.
Marlins Mariners. This was a lot more offense than I was expecting in this series. And in game one, the Marlins pick up the win. Logan Gilbert exited early with forearm tightness, which was he was perfect through three. And
Yeah.
so it seemed a little bit more precautionary. The good news is it seems like it's a minor flexor strain, 2 weeks of shutdown. Then he's going to try to throw again and hopefully can be back. But all indications are dodged a bullet, nothing too serious. But Casey Lawrence in relief struggled, allowing 8 runs, but only two were earned because of some defensive miscues over 5 innings. And the Marlins just really took advantage of that. I think just seeing Logan Gilbert, who was perfect through three, leaving the game, gave them a little bit of life there. Jesus Sanchez highlighted the fifth with a 2-run homer as part of a 5-run inning. And then Agustin Ramirez, you're going to hear that name plenty in this. He added his first MLB home run in the eighth. Jorge Polanco's 3-run homer in the sixth, also for the Mariners, did bring them within two, but the Marlins were able to hold on for the victory. That was far from the only home run or extra base hit that Agustin Ramirez hit in the series. But again, good news on Logan Gilbert. That's a priority. But the Marlins won 8-4. Cal Quantrill, if you mind, 5 innings, 4 runs was good enough for the Marlins to get the dub.
Damn right.
Next game was a blowout. Mariners win 14 zip. We saw multiple innings out of Javier Sanoja on the bump, and that's usually when you know it's a rough one. It was ridiculous just seeing them tee off, to be honest. And Julio Rodriguez and Jorge Polanco hit back-to-back homers to start the game. And then Polanco added another in the fourth. Ben Williamson, the rookie, contributed 4 RBI. And Luis Castillo dominated on the mound. It was one of the best outings we've seen from him since last season. And even over the points of last season, it was as good as any outing we saw from him then. Mitch Garver also homered, but that was off of, I'm pretty sure, Sanoja. And the Mariners bullpen completed the 4-hit shutout. Connor Gillespie went 2 innings of 6-hit ball, 7 earned, and then he was optioned. Luis Castillo, 6 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks. That was the first time he's gone 6 shutty since July 24th, 2024.
So,
Game,
oh
sorry.
no, go ahead.
You
I
want me to
thought
go
we were
game
done with.
three or take away from that?
No, you go to game three. I got something on our boy who keeps hitting laser beams.
Yes. Game three. Mariners edge out the Marlins, but the Marlins put up a good fight. The Marlins jumped ahead early. Guess what? Agustin Ramirez solo homer. And it was a laser beam that got out in a hurry. But then the Mariners quickly tied it, the home half, with a Cal Raleigh homer. Seattle took control with a 3-run second inning, highlighted by a Julio Rodriguez 2-run single and a Jorge Polanco RBI double. J.P. Crawford extended the Mariners' lead with a 2-run homer in the fifth inning, making it 7-2. But the Marlins didn't totally fall over to the side. They kind of battled around. Agustin Ramirez hit another solo homer that made it a little bit closer, but then Connor Norby crushed a 3-run shot in the eighth to cut the deficit at 7-6. But Andres Munoz shut the door in the ninth, earning his 10th save. He was absolutely dominant again. He has not been hittable at all this year. It's been ridiculous to watch him do his thing. But Agustin Ramirez, 2 home runs. Norby had a big game as well. But Jorge Polanco continues to mash 3 hits, 2 RBI. And he's been the guy that's really jolted this offense. And it's been amazing to see him swing it so well.
I saw a tweet, and obviously he's not fully qualified because he doesn't have the amount of ABs yet. But if you have at least 60 plate appearances, Aaron Judge is number one in OPS. Jorge Polanco is number two. That's
Wow.
how good he has been for the Seattle Mariners. That jolt of offense, right? You got Cal, you got J Rod. You have some bats in the lineup, but they need somebody else, whether it's Randy, whether it's Jorge Polanco. And Polanco has just been awesome so far. But the question I need answered is 3 home runs, 9 hits in his first 5 games for Augustin Ramirez. So is the player comp more Johnny Bench or is it more Mike Piazza? Which one?
If you were gonna pick one, it'd be more the Piazza side because the glove is not a strength, but he can hit the ball extremely hard and actually posts good contact rates for a guy with his power. That's why like the bat alone made him a top 100 prospect, but he's a passable defender. So if you're gonna go like extreme, it would be the Piazza comp. But um, it's interesting because they have another really good defensive catcher coming up who's mashing already now in AAA and Joe Mack. But the offensive just jolt that he's given the Marlins too is really exciting in the power that Augustine brings. But he's a passable catcher. So that side of it helps as well. Like even if you're a 40 grade catcher with the power potential that he has, and we're already seeing him tap into, I mean, this guy's been awesome.
So my next question comes from a tweet of yours. You tweeted out, Cal Raleigh is the best catcher in baseball. Now, of course, there's William Contreras with the Milwaukee Brewers. Adley Rutschman is still an incredible catcher as well. I'm curious what prompted you to tweet out and declare Cal Raleigh is the best in baseball.
I thought he was going into this year, to be honest, like right there with William, I'd say like two. And then you just see what he is doing on both sides. Like you know he's always going to pick it. But now seeing him just offensively just continue to level up, it's just so consistent at this point. And where he's doing it too, in an area where nobody can hit, but he just continues to mash. To be a switch hitting power bat that can hit you 30 homers plus and walks and picks it the way that he does, I just think it's so consistent and you just know what you're getting. And from you look at the volatility of some of the other contenders, like and even like Contreras, I love William Contreras, but I think you've seen Rowley do it a little bit more consistently now. And you know, I think Contreras is going to get going here. He's already starting to heat up, but I don't know. You look at several years of Rowley being arguably the best power hitter at the position and then being one of the best defenders at the position. And he just seems to be continuing to get better and better. Again, doing it in a place where nobody can hit. So I think that part of it is interesting too. Like, what if he was playing home games in Milwaukee? How productive would Cal Raleigh be? But I just think he's leveling up a little bit further now too, where we're seeing him, I think, just get better and better at controlling his ABs.
So Jack was just on the Marine Layer Pod. Shout out the Marine Layer Pod, great Seattle Mariners podcast hosted by Lyle and TJ on the Just Baseball Network. Any Mariners fans, if you aren't listening to them yet, you definitely should go do so. But Jack was on there and he also said Cal Raleigh is the best catcher in baseball. And then you're saying it, and I'm like, is it time for me to say it? I'm not sold yet. I still love William Contreras so much. And, Adley has not been good
No.
offensively for a while now. And the reason I can say that is it's not just this month of this season, right? He had a down year offensively last year and it's carried over into this year. So if that continues, he's not in line. So it would be between just Cal Raleigh and William Contreras. And I'm still not ready to declare it, but I totally see where you both are coming from. It's razor thin.
And it's the platinum glove ability as well,
Yeah.
where it's just like even when he's maybe a little cold, you get that side of it. But it's going to be interesting because I think Contreras is going to get real hot here soon and make it close. But I think the defense and power combination for Raleigh and imagine just where this team would be without him
Yeah.
over the last couple of years, but even now this year too. He's probably the most valuable catcher in the game. I think you could argue that for sure. We got a rivalry matchup here. Cardinals Brewers division rivalry, and it kind of looked like that for the first 2 games, maybe not the third. Matthew Liberatore was good again in the first game of the series on Friday. He went 6+ solid innings, allowing just 2 runs, 1 earned, and 5 hits. Brendan Donovan contributed 2 singles and an RBI. Ryan Helsley closed the game with a scoreless ninth and his fourth save. He's kind of getting on track as well. It was a Chad Patrick start for Milwaukee. Unfortunately, he took the loss, surrendering 2 runs over 4 1/3 innings. 3-2 win for the Cardinals. Then in game two, they were able to build a 5-0 lead right out of the gate through the first 4 innings, highlighted by a Lars Nootbaar RBI double and a Brendan Donovan RBI single. But then the Brewers rallied, tying the game at 5-5 in the ninth with a Jackson Chorio 2-run homer, except Nolan Arenado had his moment in the home half of the ninth. Walk-off homer, 6-5 win for St. Louis. Quinn Priester allowed 5 earned over 5 innings. Sonny Gray tossed 6 innings of 3-run ball. Then on Sunday, the Brewers not only salvaged, but they really answered back. They won 7-1, and they really got things going early. They scored 3 runs in the first inning with RBI singles from William Contreras, Sal Frelick, and Rhys Hoskins, who has been swinging a red-hot bat. Christian Yelich delivered 2 hits and 2 RBI, including a 2-run single in the fourth inning. And Jose freaking Quintana, 4-0. He's won all 4 of his starts so far this year. There's a guy that was available very late into the offseason, only signed for $4 million. He went 5 innings, 6 strikeouts, allowing just 1 run. And it was the fourth inning that really blew it out of proportion here, where they added 4 runs. Milwaukee did, highlighted by RBI hits from Caleb Durbin and Bryce Terang. Quintana's the story for me, though, man. Like, $4 million, nobody seemingly really wanted him for whatever reason. And he's been good for now parts of 3 seasons. He was great last year. He was good the year before that. And he was good for a lot of the year before that. And it looks like an absolute steal here for the Brewers, who, I mean, imagine where the staff would be if they didn't sign him. Like, we just talked about the little bit of a desperate trade for Quinn Priester. Imagine if they didn't have Quintana, who's been their best guy.
He's been so good. And I always feel like he's the guy where, teams in their front offices in the off season they probably have all their own analytics and they're all grading the stuff. And they see Jose Quintana down there, probably at the bottom of all of their stuff grades. And they're like, do we really want to bring this guy in? Wouldn't we rather promote our AAA arm who's shown some good stuff? Wouldn't we rather try a flyer on a guy who throws 95 at the top of the zone who, just it's a sexier profile? And then Jose Quintana just kind of goes through the free agency period and then he gets picked up for almost nothing. Nobody even remembers that he got picked up by that team. And then it's the middle of the season and you're like, wait a minute. Quintana is really good again and again and again. And I think it's front offices being short sighted
Yeah.
and not realizing that this guy has a clear ability to pitch, right?
Yep.
It's all up here for all those watching on YouTube. It's up in the brain, right? He's not blowing 95 by you. It's 89 to 91, but he's throwing it wherever he wants, keeps guys off balance, keeps the ball off the middle of the barrel, and just shoves, and nobody cares.
And he's not doing it against bad teams. He's
No.
doing it against the D-backs, the Tigers, the Giants, and now against the Cardinals, who, I mean, I know they're not great, but they can swing it a little bit. It's amazing to watch. And then, by the way, Jacob Mizraowski shoving the last 2 outings in AAA. So we'll see if he's maybe on the way here sooner rather than later. And I mean, this Brewers team, man, they're just so pesky. And they're going to find ways to manufacture runs. And that's why even when they're slumping a little bit, they're going to be able to, I think, push runs across. And they're going to be really hard to sweep. But I will say, like, the Cardinals overall, it's been a slow start for them to the year. I think that was a galvanizing series to a degree because you're playing your division rivals here, a team that I think a lot of people are expecting to be comfortably better than you, and typically are over the last few years. But I thought it was encouraging at least to see them take 2 out of 3.
You bought into Libertor yet with me?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of real. Like, I don't know, it just looks so different in the best way possible, right? Where he's just kind of learned how to pitch a little bit more than just I'm going to try to throw the fastball by you, and then the 12-6 curveball that guys were just able to start to lay off of at the upper levels. Like, we talked about the slider and just the fastball being more effective now. Like, I am buying it.
Command is impeccable. He's got a 1.7% walk rate. He's
Which
throwing
was
all
not
this
the case before either.
And it's not just the walks, too. Like, we talk about control versus command. Like, you look at his charts, right? And he's throwing his pitches exactly where he wants. You watch a Libertor outing, he pounds the glove exactly where it's set up. He's throwing the ball wherever he wants with great stuff. 2.98 expected ERA. So, based on that metric, they think he's getting slightly unlucky, too. I'm all the way in. I'm all the way in on Libby Arm.
All the way.
I'm all
I
the
love
way in.
it.
I think he's a beast.
Well, they need it too because Quinn Matthews in AAA, just I don't know what's happened to him. One of the best left-handed pitching prospects in baseball.
No way.
Great command, can't find the zone at all. They just put him on the IL, but He walked more guys in, I think, 20 innings in AAA than he did in 80 innings at all the other levels. So weird thing going on there. Hopefully it was just something that wasn't feeling right, and that's why. And hopefully he's able to get back soon. But I mean, they need this from Liberatore because that was a guy that I thought could be up in their rotation early this year and potentially be one of the fixtures. And I still think he can be, but it's a little bit of a detour here for Quinn Matthews.
Remember, Liberatore's just 25.
Still young.
Still
Still
young,
young.
dude. He's a beast.
And the thing with him too, like a lot of pedigree. It's not like he
Yeah.
came out of absolutely nowhere. So
No,
that is a nice development for the Cardinals.
not wrong, just early.
And that's another classic example.
Yeah.
Rays Padres. The Rays are pitching, man. And they did that on Friday. Shane Baz was dominant. 7 shutout innings with 6 strikeouts, 1-0 win. That's what happens when you get a start like that and you're the Rays because you hand it off to the bullpen. They're going to do their job as well. The only run came in the 3rd inning that was aided by a throwing error from Xander Bogaerts on a sacrifice fly from Yandy Diaz. I mean, despite a strong outing from Michael King, who allowed only 1 earned run and struck out 9 over 5 innings, the Padres just couldn't get anything going offensively. And at that point, it extended their scoreless streak to 25 innings. It continued into the next game in game 2, where Ryan Pepiot allowed just 3 hits over 6 innings. Brandon Lau homered for the Rays, who ended up winning the game 4-1, their 4th straight win. Pepiot extended the Padres scoreless streak to 30 innings before Tyler Wade tripled to center, leading off the 6th, and Fernando Tatis's 1-out single finally put them on the board. But that was their only run. The Rays offense was bolstered by a Christopher Morel RBI double and a Curtis Meade sacrifice fly, but they also scored a couple more runs. 4-1 win there for the Rays. Then game 3 on Sunday, the Rays secured the sweep with a 4-2 victory. Key contributions were a 2-run home run from Junior Caminero and an RBI single from Taylor Walls. The Padres offense finally showed some signs of life, but low bar here. They scored 2 total runs. Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado each recorded RBIs, but it wasn't enough to overcome the Rays' lead. Zach Littell went 5 innings of 5-hit ball, 2 runs, 1 walk. The Rays improved to 500, 14-14. The Padres fell to 17-11. The Rays starters in the series combined for 19 innings of only allowing 3 runs in the series. And I do think that even though he wasn't lighting it up like some of these other guys in terms of slug or whatever, I think there's a Chandler Simpson effect here on just what he can do as a tone setter for the rest of this lineup and just a guy that can kind of manufacture his own runs. He adds another dynamic to this team. But that said, he's not pitching. And the Rays pitching has been a big reason why they're starting to, heat up a little bit here and get back to 500.
The Rays pitching is phenomenal. I don't want to take anything away from them because you can only play who's in front of you. And you hear that sentence and the Padres in the same breath, and you think to yourself, what do you mean? It's the Padres are great. I'm going to read to you the Padres lineup in game 3 of this series. Tatis leading off. Awesome. Gavin Sheets, Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, Oscar Gonzalez, Tirso Ornelas, Jose Iglesias, Tyler Wade, Martin Maldonado. This Padres offense is so depleted and destroyed by injuries right now. I mean, after Bogaerts, Oscar, Tirso, Iglesias, Wade, Maldonado. So yes, Rays pitching looked phenomenal, and you still got Tatis, you still got Machado, you still got Bogaerts, and you got Gavin Sheets, who is taking a slight step back from his freakish start to the season. Credit to the Rays pitching, though, because they really handled him. But this Padres offense looks nothing like they did even a few weeks ago. So that's why I don't really have any takeaways on this series. Like, I'm watching a really good pitching staff in the Rays dominate a completely broken Padres offense. And then on the other side, it's not like the Rays offense looked great. Chandler Simpson is fun and exciting. They had a couple of big hits, but it wasn't crazy. So I was like, all right, a really good pitching staff just destroyed a depleted lineup. That's your series. Did you have a different read?
I will say, like, I do think that this Rays pitching staff is going to be what carries them. And that's why I love the Simpson call up, because he can just manufacture runs and help you win some of these 1-0, 2-1 games. But I do agree that, I mean, I think there's a few different pitching staffs that the Padres could have run into this past weekend who probably would have given them some trouble.
Yeah.
with the way that they're swinging it right now and with the way that this lineup can cool off. I still think that they're going to be better offensively than some of the detractors thought going into the year, but I do also think that they're going to be very volatile because if your top guys aren't hitting, and right now Jackson Merrill being banged up and
Yeah.
everything, like if your top guys aren't hitting, it's going to be really hard because the back end of that lineup is probably not going to be able to lift you up too often.
Yeah.
So that's where I think it can get difficult. And then, you face teams that play the matchups really well and can target your top of the lineup based off those matchups. Then you're going to be even more dependent on, those guys in the back end of the lineup producing. And if they don't, it's going to be tough. I still believe in Tirso, though. Said some batted ball luck. I think he's going to get going a little bit here, and they need him. They absolutely need him to swing it a little bit more too. But I'm not too worried about it if I'm a Padres fan. I think
Yeah.
they'll get the offense going again, but it's how it goes, and I think they're really feeling the loss of Merrill right now too.
100% they are.
Last series for me, we got the Pirates and the Dodgers, and you think it'd probably be a super lopsided series. It pretty much was, except for the game that Paul Skeens started, which is, I think, kind of going to be the story of the Pirates season. Paul Skeens was masterful on
Mm.
Friday, and when he is on it, this is just proof that it doesn't matter who he's facing, even if it's the big mighty Dodgers. He went six and a third shutout with a season high 9 strikeouts, no walks. The Dodgers got shut out. The Pirates scored 2 runs in the fifth inning, capitalizing on some timely hitting and defensive miscues. The standout knock was a 118-mile-per-hour RBI single off the bat of O'Neill Cruz, who's just drilling balls right now. Yoshinobu Yamamoto was solid. It was 3 runs, but only one was earned over 5 innings. But that did end his 18-inning scoreless streak. Paul Skeens was a story there, though. Pirates win 3-0. Of course, you can expect, you know what to expect the next 2 games. On Saturday, the Dodgers snapped surprisingly a 3-game losing streak with an 8-4 win. Teoscar Hernandez broke a 4-4 tie in the eighth inning with a solo homer, followed by a 3-run pinch hit homer from Kike Hernandez. Shohei Ohtani contributed with 3 extra base hits and scored twice. Roki Sasaki was solid, 5 2/3, 5 hits, 3 earned, 2 walks, 4 Ks. Mitch Keller was solid on the other side as well. 6 innings of 5 hit ball, 2 runs, 1 walk, 6 Ks, but it's an 8-4 Dodgers win. Then on game 3, Dodgers win 9-2. They were in control pretty much after the top of the first inning. The Pirates did score 2 in the top of the first, but then it was 9 unanswered runs for the Dodgers. Ohtani was 2 for 4 with a double. Teoscar Hernandez hit his 200th career home run. Andy Pages is heating up. Dodgers fans wanted that man gone and should have been a little bit more patient. 4 for 5 with a homer, 4 RBI. Big part of the story, though, here, Tyler Glasnow left the game after 1 inning with what was described as shoulder discomfort. That's why the Dodgers are so unfair, though, is Ben Kasparius just comes in long relief, 3 2/3, 2 hits, no runs, 5 Ks.
Like,
But hopefully Tyler Glasnow can avoid an IL stint here. And shout out Andrew McCutchen, the old man, 4 for 4 with a homer. Love seeing him putting together still good games here and decent numbers.
Andy Pages was close to getting ran out of town by
Yep.
a Dodgers fan base that if they don't see perfection, you are done.
Mm-hmm.
And now Pages is proving why, the Dodgers felt confident enough in him to really be their starting center fielder going into the season. I know he's played a couple of different positions, but in center field, shout out Peyton at Big League Analysis. Make sure to go follow him both on TikTok and on Instagram, who edits all these YouTube videos, does such a good job for us. He released a video, I think today, as we're recording on Sunday, about Roki Sasaki and Andy Pages. Andy Pages has robbed a home run in the last 3 Roki Sasaki starts. That's insane.
That's insane.
That's insane.
Roki owes him. I know Roki didn't get like the mega bag because of the international free agent situation, but Roki owes him a nice bottle of something.
Well, did you hear what Roki did get from the Dodgers as part of his free agent contract?
Oh, the Japanese. Oh, there was like a specific type of bidet, right?
So Roki Sasaki, I'm looking it up right now. I'm looking up Roki Sasaki toilet on Twitter. I know somebody's going to have the story here. So yes, from Yahoo Sports, the Dodgers installed 8 state-of-the-art multi-function heated seat bidet equipped Japanese style toilets in the clubhouse this winter to persuade Roki Sasaki to sign with the team. So the guy's getting Andy Pajes robbing a home run for him every single start. He's playing on the best team ever, and he got all the toilets that he needs. He's in a perfect spot.
Yeah, I mean, he's legitimately put in a perfect spot. I couldn't believe that though. That was really funny. Like the little things to try to make a difference here and reel him in. That does make me believe a little bit more though that this was the open sweepstakes that people thought maybe it wasn't. I mean, the Dodgers wouldn't have installed all that. I think proactively if they didn't think it could make a difference in his decision making process. If they thought it was already a done deal, I don't think they're going through all that.
So Roki was asked about the toilets via the Orange County Register. It sounds like a joke, but for me, it's really important. I love that quote. He's talking about the toilets.
That
It sounds
actually
like a
is.
joke. No, I love that. It sounds like a joke, but I'm not fucking around. I need
This
these
is not. This
toilets.
isn't. This isn't funny.
This isn't funny. I need the toilets.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
All right. Before we get to my series, our first break. Okay, my side of the roundup starts with the Blue Jays versus the Yankees. In game one, Blue Jays win 4-2. Vladdy opened the scoring with his second home run of the season. First, I know I just started, but he's only got 2 home runs on him. Like, he signed a $500 trillion contract, and we only got 2 home runs. It's all right. He'll get going, and he's still a good, obviously, offensive player, but only 2 home runs is a little bit disappointing. But the Yankees answered right back in the seventh and eighth inning on RBIs from Oswaldo Cabrera and Austin Wells. But the ninth inning is what everyone's talking about. Devin Williams enters the game with a 2-1 lead in the ninth. He allows a single, hit by pitch. Then Alejandro Kirk smashed a double over Trent Grisham's head to score both, taking a 3-2 lead. Devin Williams then exited the game with his ERA sitting at a clean 11.25. The Blue Jays scored Kirk to make it a 4-2 game after Williams exited, and that was the game. And then we found out on Sunday that Devin Williams is being removed from the closer's role for the time being. I think on last week's roundup, maybe it was the roundup before, Devin Williams had a couple of blow up innings, and I said, all right, everybody relax.
Yep.
Everybody chill out. And it's only gotten worse from there.
Yeah.
I, again, it's early. There are plenty of other closers going through weird stretches right now. I do think that Devin Williams ultimately is going to be totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to be completely honest. I've seen plenty of Devin Williams in Milwaukee. The changeup looks way worse.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just leaving it right down the middle. Like, what made Devin Williams so special was not only is the airbender such an incredible pitch, it plays off the fastball perfectly. And when he's dotting 96 at the top of the zone, and then that changeup is coming from the exact same arm slot, and it looks like it's at the top of the zone, and then falls below the zone. Now it looks like he's just kind of lazily turning it over, and you're just throwing meatballs right down the middle. And I'm thinking to myself, this just isn't even close to what the Yankees signed up for with Devin Williams. Luckily, they have Luke Weaver, who they can just put in, and they're totally fine. But I mean, this looks like they cloned Devin Williams and then punched him in the face 10 times, made him dizzy before going out there, Devin Williams. This is not the Milwaukee Devin Williams. And, shout out Peyton. He's like, did Pete Alonso break him? Was that the last straw? Might have been. But no, it doesn't might have been. I'm not saying that. It's not might have been.
It's weird though. It definitely like the fastball command hasn't been there. It's also down a tick, which is interesting. And I I don't want to put too much into that, but like when it's down a tick and the feel's not there, you just wonder what's going on. But it was also a little concerning when Devin Williams, who I appreciate the honesty, is just kind of like I don't really know what's going on. Like I can't really give you a reason. I wish I could. So that part of it is a little bit concerning as well. So I just hopefully can get that velo back up. Just being down a tick is going to matter a little bit more for a reliever. But yeah, it is interesting. Like I don't think he was trying to change anything or do anything different. So why isn't it working? We'll find out. But I think just being able to play with things a little bit more and lower leverage, I think will be helpful for him. But I was like looking to see like maybe even if the pitches aren't moving as much or whatever, like the changeup is moving more than it was last year. So it's bizarre that he's just struggling location wise and things like that. But it is a big shift and a new environment and things like that. And I think he'll ultimately settle in.
And I wanted to talk about that now because I don't have many other takeaways. It was one of those series where one of the games got rained out, then you had a doubleheader and things just got crazy. I mean, game two, the Yankees went 11-2, and if you could believe it, the Blue Jays actually had a lead in this one. Vladdy drove home the first game's run on a ground out, but the lead was short-lived as the Yankees put up 6 in the third inning as Gosman lost the strike zone completely. Two different bases loaded walks, and then Austin Wells crushed a 3-run double to put the game out of reach. Yankees put up 3 in the fifth, then highlighted by Anthony Volpe's fifth home run of the season. Suck it, haters. And then the game was basically over. Kevin Gausman had a horrible day all around.
Oh, it's one of the worst days on a baseball field and
just,
you can have.
just a terrible day. 2 2/3, 3 hits, 5 walks, 6 earned. Then he got ejected from the dugout after he was arguing with the umpires. And then while doing so, he fell down the stairs.
Yep. And
Wasn't
it was as he's going down the stairs, he's saying to the umpire too, like, I'm about to go watch how like bad you were on the screen and eat shit. Like that's like some I was thinking about I'm like that's what would happen to me the one time I get tossed, like the one time I try to be tough. Like that would be what would happen. But yeah, rough one for Gosman, who's been great otherwise.
Yeah, he's been
But
great.
yeah,
Just not his thing.
he took it in stride, I think, a little bit. But yeah, that is the definition of insult to injury there, unfortunately. But yeah, I agree. Like, these doubleheader games, like it's just kind of battle it out. Most of
Yeah.
the time, they're going to split it and see how it goes. But it's hard to take too much from it because most of the time they're trying to survive staff wise in the first game, and
Yeah.
tough to do that when you get a short one from Gosman too. But I mean, the big takeaway though is I know Judge finally went deep, but like seeing him just be so productive without going deep is like got to be the scariest thing for pitchers across the American League, like humanly possible. Because if he is now this like pure hitter that also is gonna get going and start hitting bombs too left and right, like it's just amazing seeing him. I know he's hitting homers too. Like don't get me wrong, but like he's piling up hits. Like he's hitting for average. And I know he's always put up good batting average numbers, but the dude's hitting 400. It's just amazing to see how he continues to get better from a bat to ball perspective and just as a hitter in general.
We're witnessing arguably the greatest peak in MLB history, non-steroid, right? Everybody's going to say Barry Bonds, 2001 to 2004, and you'd be totally right. But we all know he was juicing. Aaron Judge ain't. And these numbers, when spread across, the past couple of seasons, he is up there with all-time greats and surpassing these all-time greats. Aaron Judge is the best hitter that I have ever seen in a Yankee uniform. Now, I'm
Yeah.
27 years old, but I have seen A-Rod. I have seen plenty of great hitters. Nobody, nobody touches Aaron Judge in my eyes. But let's just quickly go through game three. Yankees win 5-1. Blue Jays and Yankees swapped home runs in the first and the third. Trent Grisham might be better than Aaron Judge.
Yeah,
He's
that's
up
it's the
there.
only one that's better, I think.
And Anthony Santander's third home run of the year as well. Then the Yankees just broke out offensively, highlighted, of course, by Judge breaking his homerless streak, his eighth of the year. Yeah, this guy had a homerless streak, and he still got 8 home runs.
That's why I was like, he has 8, but we were talking about how he hasn't hit that many homers lately. Like it doesn't even make sense.
Eight's not a lot for him. Eight's like slow, and now he's this Luis Ariz player.
Yeah.
All those storylines come out, and he still has 8 home runs. Also, shout out JC Escara, hit his first career home run, and shout out Clark Schmidt was awesome, and he needed this outing, tossing 5 innings, only allowing 1 hit, 1 run over 5 innings. Again, I mean, he's gotten off. Not a great start. He's been a little bit injured, but to have a start like that is great for his confidence. Yankees win the series and move to 17-11. Blue Jays fall to 13-15. You want me to just move on to the next series?
Yeah, I don't have much else other than that. Just Judge is incredible.
Insane. Mets versus Nationals. Wild series, and it's not
Oh,
even done because game four is on Monday. Game one, Nationals win 5-4. They got out to a 3-0 lead on the back of CJ Abrams, who drove in 2 runs on a triple and an RBI single. And also, shout out Jose Tena. Stays hot, smacking his first run home on an RBI single. And then Jake Irvin's masterclass had the Nationals in a great spot. So the Mets, the big story, and Mets fans are going to hang on to this. They got screwed on a triple play, absolutely, right? Turned by the Nationals, which clearly bounced, but the first base umpire thought he caught it on the fly, and it wasn't reviewable. Probably would have ended up being a double play, but I mean, if you're a Mets fan watching that game and you're trying to start a rally and to see that happen, just took the wind out of their sails. But luckily, it didn't take the players out of the game because the Mets had some luck of their own. After Irvin exited, the Mets loaded the bases and Mark Vientos hit a 75-mile-an-hour bloop that dropped right in front of a diving Dylan Cruz, giving the Mets a 4-3 lead. But then the Nationals came roaring back in the bottom of the ninth as Jose Tena drove in another run to tie it, and then James Wood sent Nationals fans home happy with an RBI single that CJ Abrams turned on the wheels to score from first base. What a game. Jake Irvin was fantastic again. 7 and a third, only 1 earned allowed. He's only allowed 3 runs over his last 20 and 2/3 innings. Jake Irvin is on a heater. But game 2, Mets win 2-0. Game saw a lot of rain, delayed the start, then delayed again after the bottom of the first inning. That didn't matter to Clay Holmes, though. Dude was a beast and has been a beast all season. Spun 5 great innings, only allowing 4 hits without a run allowed, lowering his ERA to 2.64. The only scoring came in the top of the second inning where Francisco Alvarez sliced one to right field, his first home run of the season. Welcome back, Francisco Alvarez. And game 3, shout out the Discord. I had Nationals money line in game 1, Nationals money line in game 3, and we are going crazy. Insane game. Nationals win 8-7. The Mets put up 5 runs in the first and then added their 6th run in the second, and the game felt like it was just over. Mitchell Parker could not find the strike zone at all, and the Mets took full advantage of that. Now, Dylan Cruz homered in the bottom of the second, his 4th of the season, and he's red hot right now. But the Mets maintained a 7-1 lead going into the bottom of the 5th on the backs of another fantastic performance from Tylor Megill. But that's when things got crazy. The Nationals worked their way on base in the 8th and scored 2 runs on singles from Josh Bell and Alex Call. And then Riley Adams stepped to the plate and crushed a home run at 110 miles an hour, driving in 3, which narrowed the Mets' lead to 7-6. Now, in the top of the 9th, Mets strand 2, right? Fans are pissed. Got to score those runs. And then Ryan Stanek stepped in again to try and right his wrongs from Friday. But Alex Call had different plans, doubling immediately. Then Ruiz moved him over, and then C.J. Abrams drove him home to tie the game. James Wood walked, and then Luis Garcia hit a ground ball to Pete Alonso, who sailed the throw to the covering Ryan Stanek. Abrams scores. Nationals win. Again, the series ain't over, but it has been wild to start.
Absolutely wild. The Tylor Megill got hosed. He is dominant, man. It was really fun to watch him throw today, or I guess yesterday as people are listening. And it was a fly ball that got lost in the sun. Soto, it didn't happen to a few guys across the game, but Soto has that fall, and then a little blooper, and essentially has to leave the game because he's at 105 pitches. And then Jose Budo, who's just been really bad this year in terms of inheriting runners, gave up the runs that he inherited and then more. So Megill, the line could have easily been like 6 1/3 of 1-run ball, or really 7 innings of 1-run ball. He could have finished that inning if that ball was caught. But he just continues to be absolutely dominant. And then going back to game 1, I know Abrams was in motion, but that was a ground ball that barely got to the outfield.
Yeah.
And the fact that Abrams was able to score from first on that was insane. If you ask me right at the point of contact, what are the chances of CJ Abrams scoring from first base, even with him running, I would have said less than 1%.
I would have said 0. There's no way. You don't see that ever.
Just perfect base running in terms of just did not waste a step, like so tight on the inside parts of the bag, flying. And then it was a perfect storm of that. And then also a weak throw from the outfield. And I mean, there's nothing better than watching these players just at full speed once they hit their stride and rounding the backs perfectly. Like, that's what makes Carroll so insane too. It's the home to third times being record breaking. Of course, it's because he's one of the fastest players in baseball, but it's also because of how perfectly they round the bags. And Abrams was doing that exactly. And those are the little things that can win you ball games. That's exactly what happened. And then just Dylan Cruz, like they need him to get going. It was so ugly out of the gate. And, sometimes you need a little trip to Coors to get going, but it's continued outside of Coors. And he's just putting together much better at bats, and he looks great.
Man, if this Nationals team had a bullpen, they'd be good.
Yeah.
because the lineup is so fun and exciting. I mean, you got Abrams back at the top, and you got James Wood, and you got a couple of veterans in the middle, and then you got Dylan Cruz, and you even have Jose Tena looking great, putting up great ABs. It's such a fun lineup. And then the starting rotation has a lot of quality arms, right? Mackenzie Gore has as good a stuff as anybody in the game. I know Mitchell Parker struggled today, but that was very unlike him with the command, especially right in his last two starts. 14 innings, three walks, and today he had five walks. It's just one of those games where he just didn't have it. But then the bullpen, and I mean, the Mets, excuse me, the Nationals came back, but even in game one, right, they had that 3-0 lead, and then they gave it up. And again, it's a very exciting team. And Mets fans were talking a lot of shit to me too because they got off to a big lead, and I took Nationals money line, and I was talking shit back. But in reality, like the Mets are a phenomenal team. This was just a letdown series.
Yeah.
You get off to such a hot start. Everybody thinks that you're the best thing since sliced bread, and you are, right? The pitching is
The
unbelievable.
staff is
The
crazy.
offense been good. They're 12-1 at home. They can't lose at Citi Field. But then you go on the road where they're 7-7, falling to 7-8 against a scrappy Nationals team who is gunning for you. Felt like a letdown series. That's why I was backing the Nationals a lot. I could still recognize that the Mets are a force to be reckoned with.
Well, and Stanek in the closer role again. No Diaz.
Yeah.
Stanek struggles a little bit. Some bad luck there too, but back to back games that you gave up a walk off, right? So that is just something to monitor. Just the staff is great, but who's going to be shutting these games down consistently, and who do they trust?
On top of that, an MRI for AJ Minter. I think it's his
Yeah.
lat. I think he'll be fine, but he might have an IL stint too. So you got Edwin Diaz dealing with, I think, a hip thing. He
Yeah.
came in, he was okay, but they wanted to give him a little bit of time to rest. And then, of course, Minter and then Budo not doing. So the bullpen, there needs to be some work around there, but the starting pitching has just been so freaking good. And also, if Mets fans, if you want to trade us Juan Soto, I'll take him.
Yeah.
Right? You
Yeah.
trade Juan Soto back to the Yankees, we'll
I
take him.
could see him being pretty good for the Yankees. I
Yeah,
could see him enjoying Yankee Stadium.
yeah, I agree. All
I, I got this real quick though. This is game
yeah,
notes from Jack earlier today.
okay.
Mets starters have not allowed a home run in any of their last 14 starts, 73 and two-thirds innings. That's tied with the 1988 club for the third longest streak in franchise history, trailing only the 1969 Miracle Mets, 23 innings, and the 1986 Amazing Mets. It's so funny that the Mets teams that are good just get these special names too. 16, the only World Series winners in franchise history. So,
Wait, but Dylan Cruz hit a home run against
yeah,
McGill.
that was up until literally that
Oh,
point.
okay. Oh, I
So like
really
that's
want.
how insane they had been up until that point.
I really wanted to chirp Jack for a wrong note, but
No,
yeah, I ended
no,
up
he
being right
sent it
about it.
just before that.
Dang
I
it.
can't chirp him for it.
Dang
But
it.
it's still a crazy stretch. Just shows you how good that staff is.
Yeah. Let's go to the best team in the American League and see how they're doing. That is the Detroit Tigers. Orioles versus Tigers. First game got postponed. So again, game one of a doubleheader. Tigers win 4-3. A lot of rain all over the United States of America. Tigers got Casey Mize a 2-run lead early in the bottom of the second. As noted great hitter Javier Baez smacked a double to score the first run. The Gleyber Torres followed that up with a sac fly. The only damage was done to Mize, even though he gave up 8 hits, was just on a home run from Ryan O'Hearn through 5 innings of one-run ball. Chase Young gave the Tigers the third run, and then Jordan Westberg stole it right back for the Orioles in the seventh. But Spencer Torkelson's eighth home run was a much-needed insurance run, as a late home run by Ramon Arias wasn't enough. Tigers win. And you expect doubleheader. Orioles are still a fine team. They're off to a bad start, but they'll definitely steal that second one. Nope. Tigers win 6-2. Gunnar Henderson got the Orioles on the board first in the third inning with an RBI double, but it could have been 2 runs if it weren't for a Zach McKinstry perfect throw. Perfect to home from left field to nab Cedric Mullins. But that lead lasted about 15 seconds as Riley Green hit his fourth home run of the year, a 3-run shot in the bottom of the third inning. Orioles scored again in the sixth, but the two best players in baseball, Spencer Torkelson and Zach McKinstry, broke it open with doubles that totaled 3 RBIs, and that was that. We moved to game three, and you think, well, Scooble's on the mound, but no way the Orioles get swept. No way they keep playing this bad. Oh, yeah, they got swept 7-0. Tarek Skubal pitched like a straight up gangster, striking out 11 over 6 dominant innings. He only needed 1 run to win it in this one, but the Tigers put up 2 in the second on another Javier Baez fucking RBI hit. Tigers put up 7 total with no home runs, but Gleyber Torres, Dylan Dingler, and Javier Baez all had 2 hits, and now Javier Baez's arm is hitting 301.
Yep.
Tigers improve to 18-10, best record in the American League, while the Orioles fall to 10-17, last place in the American League East. So we posted on our Instagram kind of a safe space for Orioles fans, right? The tweet was the Orioles are now 7 games under 500, are in last place in the AL East. What needs to change? And I thought this comment was funny. And the only reason I'm reading it now is so I can take credit for it. So when the Orioles inevitably get hot, Orioles fans then can't come after me again. Is that fair?
Yeah.
So here's the comment. Peter was pissing me off all offseason hating on the Orioles. Peter was very correct. I hate these Orioles. Matty H _cards on Instagram. Shout out Matty H. If the Orioles get hot again, Matt, you did say I was right at one point. Just remember
Yes.
that's all I'm asking for.
And Mike Elias might need to be upgraded from fraud watch to like fraud threat at this point. That's one step away from the full fraud designation. I'm going to give him the full first half here, the trade deadline. Give him a little bit more time. Hey, maybe Trevor Rogers can come back and that acquisition can look a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, you got to start looking at Mike Elias because I don't want to start having this full-fledged conversation now because it's still too early. But if this team does not turn it around this year and then has a rough go next year as well, this could be one of the biggest fumbles of a talented young core of all time. But you can also pivot and get things right and make things happen. But how do they do that? I'm very interested to find out. And how many more starts do you give to certain guys that are struggling? We'll see. Javier Baez is the focus for me because I don't know if this is going to continue or whatever. But the fact that he's not going up there and just giving away his at bats says something to me. And maybe it was because the team, the way they played, and he couldn't be a part of it because he was hurt at the end of the season last year. And just there seems to be a level of, and I think he just has his shortcomings. But part of it, I do think, is buy-in. Because we watched Javier Baez, even between being miserable for the Tigers, then play well in the WBC. And so it's like, yes, he's always going to be a volatile player, but I do wonder how much of it sometimes is buy-in. He comes off this injury, he's away from the game longer than he probably ever has been, and then also now plays for this young team that is exciting, and I think it's infectious, and it gets you locked in here. And I think he just might be a little bit more bought in and a little bit more locked in right now. He's not chasing as much. He's still chasing, but he's not chasing north of 40%. He's not taking mammo hacks every time and looking like he's going to hurt himself. Like he's trying to just shoot the ball and play somewhere. And it's working. So the fact that he's just giving you decent at-bats, especially against lefties, like he can fill a role now, and you don't have to just boot him off the team and eat the money. So like that is nice to see from Javi Baez, and I think it's got to be huge for them. Just the fact that he's not a net negative.
And on the buy-in theme, you had me kind of thinking about something, and I'm curious if you kind of disagree with what I'm about to say. And again, this is pure speculation. I wonder if he feels more comfortable when he feels like he's a cog rather than the star. Like he's a cog in the operation. He's one guy that is going to help a better team win. I think about his time on the Cubs, right? There's a lot of stars there, and he thrived as one of them. Then he goes to the Mets, and he's brought in as a big star, but they have other good players, right? And Javier Baez gets the most out of his short tenure with the Mets.
And he was bad before that too. And then he gets traded, plays with his friend, buy-in, and he's playing well.
And then he goes to the Tigers. They're not very good. He's lauded as the star because he signs a big-time deal. And when there's nobody really around him, he starts to give away his ABs. Now, the Tigers are really good. Nobody's even thinking about
You're not game planning for that,
We're thinking about Green. We're thinking about Carpenter. We're thinking about Torque. We're thinking about fucking Zach McKinstry. And then Javier Baez is down there at the 9-hole thinking, make good wood.
Yep.
Right? Put good bat on the ball.
Yep.
Simple game. Be a cog in the rotation. And that's exactly what he's been. And he's playing great. So I wonder if that's an element of it too, not just the buy-in, but a specific buy-in when he feels he's a part of a larger thing versus one man on the island, especially that WBC team too, right?
Yep.
He knows he's a part of a huge team, right?
Yeah.
It's not just him. So I wonder if that's an element of it as well.
I mean, and look, of course, you're paying him way more to be way more than that. But at this point, you take what you can get. And I
Yeah.
think he was probably trying to fill the shoes of that big contract. And how about just help us win ball games and
Yeah.
be doing that in the 9 hole and playing? He's been good in center. That's the
Yeah.
other thing too. Like he's out going out there and playing center field, and he's actually made some nice plays out there. Like he's playing some third, he's playing some short when they need him to. Like he's a nice utility piece for them. Paying way too much for that, but who cares at this point? It was borderline a sunk cost. Now it's not. You're getting something out of him, and I think it's nice to see him buying into that role. And I think it is making his life easier. I agree.
Let's move on to Angels versus Twins. Game one, Twins win 11-4. This was also a beatdown by a team that needed it, and they went up against a team that was hot to start the year and has cooled down significantly. Game one, Twins win 11-4. Kyle Hendricks did not have fun on Friday, allowing 7 runs in 3 innings of work. Correa opened the scoring with a sac fly in the first, but a 6-run fourth inning put this game out of reach. Trevor Larnach homered. Buxton stayed red hot with his 6th home run of the season, and it was 9-1 after the 4th inning. Now, the Angels fought back with home runs from Mike Trout and Logan O'Hoppe, but it wasn't enough. And shout out Pablo Lopez looked solid in his return from the IL. 5 innings, a 2-run ball with 6 strikeouts. Game 2, Twins win 5-1. Twins blasted Kikuchi early, allowed 9 hits and 4 earned in just 2 innings of work. Correa led the way early, smacking the first home run in the first, and then driving home another run in the second. Shout out Ty France and new twin Jonah Bride on their RBI singles in the middle of all of that. The only Angels run came on a Zach Neto solo shot, his 3rd of the season in just 8 games. He's been awesome. Brooks Lee brought home the final run on an RBI double. And Simeon Woods Richardson, very solid. 5 innings of 1-run ball with 7 strikeouts. His ERA fell to 4.07. And then game 3 was much of the same. Twins win 5-0, but this was the Joe Ryan show. Jeez. Striking out 11 over 7 shutty with only 4 hits allowed. Dominant performance. And Carlos Correa stayed hot with a 3-hit day. Trevor Larnach also provided some thump with a 2-hit day. Twins sweep, moved to 12-16. Angels fall to 12-15. I can't quit these Twins, Arm. Can't quit them. Don't care. I know they suck, and I know nobody likes them, but I like them. I like them.
Well, we said the sweep against the White Sox was kind of whatever, right? Because or not sweep, but taking the series against the White Sox. It's like okay, it doesn't move me. Are you actually playing better ball? Now I think you can look at them and say they're playing better ball. They got Lopez back. Joe Ryan has his best start. They're playing better ball. So that is the encouraging part. I still have a lot of concerns about this team, but last weekend roundup, where can you even say this is a little bit of a jolt? Like, probably not. Now you can, because I know it's the Angels. They're not lighting the world on fire either. But now you've strung together 2 quality series, and that's hard to do in Major League Baseball, no matter who you're playing. And so I think that side of it is encouraging. And they beat Kikuchi, like you said. And I think, again, getting Lopez back and him looking good, and then Joe Ryan looking like he can get rolling again here soon, too, and hopefully can build off of that. That's encouraging. The thing that sucks is Luke Keyshaw going down. Off to a phenomenal start to his big league career. Top 50 prospect for us at just baseball. And then non-displaced fracture in his forearm. They only put him on the 10-day IL, so hopefully it's maybe something that doesn't keep him out more than a few weeks, or I don't know how all that works. But sucks because I do think a big part of them playing better was he gives you some bat to ball, he walks a ton, good speed, and that was a nice just I think energy boost to the lineup. And just the injury curse continues for these Twins, but it is nice to see that they called him up, and I think he'll come back and still be an important piece for them.
Absolutely. Let's move over to series number 5 on my list, Astros versus Royals. This one was not super crazy, just more Astros can't hit at all, or at least not until game 3. Game 1, Royals win 2-0. This was the Seth Lugo show. One of the best starts of the year by any pitcher. 8 innings, 3 hits, 8 Ks, and then Lucas Erceg came in and closed it out. He did allow a lot of hard contact, though, but the Royals defense had his back. The only Royals runs, though, came on sac flies from Kyle Isbell and Hunter Renfroe, and that is all they needed to take home the win. Game 2, Royals win 2-0. Again, basically a carbon copy of game 1, except Waka went 2 fewer innings than Lugo. 6 shutty, only allowing 4 hits, striking out 6. And of course, One of the Royals' 2 runs was on a sac fly. But shout out Vinny P. Crushed his 3rd home run of the season, and that was that. Now, Framber Valdez was awesome, right? He pitched the whole game, only allowed 2 runs, but you can't win if you don't score. Game 3, Astros get revenge, win 7-3. Hunter Brown, dude, it's clockwork. Amazing yet again. 6 innings, only allowing 1 run, striking out 9, lowering his ERA to 1.22. Now, Yordan and Yainer Diaz homered. But it's funny, though. If I told you on April 28th, Yordan Alvarez and Yainer Diaz combined would have 5 home runs at this point, you would say, what's going on
Uh,
over there? Are they hurt? No, they've
yeah.
been playing all year, just not much power from those two, but we got it today. And Chas McCormick went off for a 3-hit day, scoring 3 runs. He's hitting 318 to start the year. And Jeremy Pena also had a multi-hit day. Royals win the series, improved to 14-15. Astros fall to 14-13. Royals team is starting to get better. Now, it's on the backs of a lot of great pitching performances, which is tough to rely on. Not to say that
Yeah.
these Royals pitchers can't continue to pitch well, but you're not going to get 8 inning shutouts, 6 inning shutouts every day where 3 of your 4 runs scored in 2 games are on sac flies. But it is good to see the pitching come. It also stinks that Cole Reagans might hit the shelf. I'm not exactly sure what's the deal on him right now, but again, I'm happy for the Royals, but the concern is still there on offense that I'm
Yeah.
still struggling with.
Tough recipe to win games 2-0 all the time. It does help that their bullpen has been great, which is kind
Great.
of a surprise. I mean, we knew this the staff, the starting pitching rotation would be good, but yeah, I mean, they got to swing it better. It's nice to see like they can win series even when they're not swinging it, but for this team to be what they can ultimately be, yeah, they're going to need to produce a little bit more. But given how much they were skidding, at points, like it is nice to see them kind of have this get right series, and hopefully the bats can get going soon.
And the Astros are just kind of like not scary, like I've been saying.
No, they beat up the Blue Jays,
Yeah.
and that was nice. But then, yeah, you run into a pretty good pitching staff, and all of a sudden, this Astros lineup looks like the diminished Astros lineup. It somewhat is.
Our next series features, I think, a team worse than the 2024 White Sox. The Colorado Rockies are
Yeah.
downright horrific. Game 1, Reds win 8-7. The Reds never fully relinquished the lead in this one, but I know Reds fans were kind of nervous throughout. Noelvi Marte opened the scoring for the Reds with an RBI single, but Adael Amador grabbed the run right back with a bases loaded walk. Reds put up 3 in the third, highlighted by Spencer Steer's second home run of the game, but that lead lasted about 8 seconds as Jordan Beck hit his 4th home run of the year, and then Michael Toglia drove in 2 on an RBI double. Reds grab a 2-run lead in the top of the 5th and then lost that lead in the bottom half. 6-6 game after 5. Reds put up 2 more in the 7th, and then Jordan Beck hit a home run to narrow the lead in the 8th, but that was it. Reds win. Game 2, Reds win 6-4. Both teams trade 2-run shots out of the gate. Noelvi Marte, Aram, just
I,
keeps hitting.
I
Noelvi
I need another month of this. I just can't believe it. I hope he keeps doing it, but still, I'm not buying it yet.
and Michael Tolia for the Rockies also hit that home run. They trade home runs in the 4th as well. Austin Hayes, who's off to an awesome start for the Reds, and Adael Amador, his first of his career. Reds then take the lead on another Austin Hayes home run, and then Elian Steer gave them some breathing room with RBI singles. And Green struggled a bit for his standards. 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned, 0 walks, 8 strikeouts. Again, that's a bad Hunter Green start these days. We
Yeah.
expect much more than a quality start. That's how good he has been. But again, it's in Coors. But talk about quality. Reds win 8-1, and Nick Lodolo made the Rockies look like your local men's league team in his first ever start at Coors Field. Tossed 7 innings, only allowing 2 hits and striking out 9. But he could have thrown a no-hitter. The only hits he allowed was a ball in the hole that Ellie made a great backhand play on, and the throw just took Spencer Steer off the bag, called him safe on the play. I think if they called him out,
It would have
whatever
stood.
the umpire called, it would have stood. And then Kyle Farmer had a little dribbler that Noelvi Marte thought would go foul. It's one of those ones that just creeps by the line and then hits the bag. Those were his 2 hits, right? Noelvi Marte had another great day going 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs and 2 stolen bases. His OPS is up near 1100 with a 364 batting average. Red sweep moved to 15-13. Rockies fall to 4-23. Do you agree with my assessment that the current 2025 Rockies are worse than the 2024 White Sox, who are arguably the worst team ever?
I do think this team has a chance to be one of the worst in the modern era. I mean, it's early. they're 4-23. They play half of their games on the moon,
Yeah.
yet they lead the league in strikeout rate, nearly 30%, and entering Sunday. So this doesn't even include the numbers that would go down somehow. 216 batting average, 290 on base percentage. They're 26th in baseball and on base percentage when you play on the moon. 28th when you play at course. Like that is incredibly bad. Even the bad Rockies teams are never that bad offensively. I mean, you're last in strikeouts as a pitching staff, and you're the number one in strikeouts as an offense. Not gonna go well for you. This they might lose 120 games because I don't see it getting much better for them
No.
anytime soon.
Who's going to help? I mean, Jordan Beck is providing some fun offense, but Brenton Doyle offensively has not come to play. Tovar is hurt. McMahon couldn't hit water if he fell off a boat. Michael Toglia, it looks like Nolan Gorman in those days where Gorman would look like he's missing a slider by 4 feet. It's like one of those swings and misses where it counts as one whiff, but it really should be two because you're so far away from the ball. Nobody else can hit. Jacob Stallings behind home plate can't frame, can't block, can't hit, can't do anything. Nobody on this team plays well. Like even Dolander, we're excited for his starts. And it's not like he's performing that well early. Ryan Feltner's their ace. He got scratched. They don't have any other pitchers. I mean, Marquez and Sensatella are throwing elevated levels of batting practice. They don't have anybody in the bullpen. I mean,
Now,
Rockies.
Zach Agnos, watch out for Zach Agnos. I'm
Yeah, I
serious,
mean,
and Seth Halverson.
he did look pretty good today, but I mean, what he's in mop up duty, like getting those 2 or 3 innings of
I
yard.
like Agnos.
All
I
right,
do.
sure. So the Rockies are a pretty damn good team.
Yeah, I like Agnos a lot. He's a really good relief prospect. But that's the I'm draw the line at Agnos and Seth Halverson. I love those guys. But I'm with you. I mean, you're getting good offense from Hunter Goodman too, and you think that would help them. It's been rough. I mean, I think Doyle's been fine, but he needs to be like 900 OPS if this offense is going to be any good. So yeah, I mean, it's a tough watch right now.
Let's move over to the White Sox versus the A's. Game one, A's win 6-5. The first run scored in the game didn't come until the fifth, where both teams got on the board. Miguel Vargas had an RBI single for the White Sox, and Jacob Wilson homered for the A's. The guys hit homers. The White Sox got the lead in the sixth, but another big Jacob Wilson hit produced 2 runs. A's take the lead in the seventh and never looked back, courtesy of RBI hits from Brent Rooker and Tyler Soderstrom. Now, Brooke Baldwin's home run in the ninth made it close, but not quite enough. But game two, the White Sox, how about 10 runs, 10-3 win? This game was over almost before it started, as the White Sox put up 6 runs against Jeffrey Springs in the first 2 innings. Luis Robert homered, and there was a string of 3 straight RBI doubles from Lenine Sosa, Michael A. Taylor, and Brooks Baldwin. The only A's highlight was the Luis Arias home run. I mean, Jeffrey Springs dealt with really bad command issues. That's really what's bit him. He was throwing strikes in this one, but it looked terrible. I mean, he's hanging everything over the middle of the zone. He needs to have some sort of tweak because he is in a funk. But
Yeah.
Jonathan Cannon has not looked great in a bulk roll, going 7 2/3 while allowing 3 runs. He was a guy I've been kind of disrespecting. I'm like, yeah, you're probably the worst pitcher in the White Sox rotation, which means you're one of the worst pitchers in baseball. But no, this
No.
guy's been good. That splitter or changeup or whatever he's throwing that just drops off the table looks good. It's a good pitch.
7 2/3 and piggyback is weird. It's so
Yeah.
weird to look at in the box score, but that was great.
Yeah, it was great. He got a little bit of an opener and then just shoved. Game three, though, A's win 3-2 in 10 innings. Joshua Palacio started the scoring with his first home run of the season, a solo shot. And then Brent Rooker quickly grabbed the lead back in the bottom of the first on an RBI double, and we have a tie game. And then the game stays 1-1 until the 10th, where Luis Robert gave the White Sox the lead in an RBI single. But then Luis Arias walked it off in the bottom of the 10th with his fourth home run of the season. A's win the series and move to 14-14. White Sox fall to 7-21. My lone takeaway from the series, Jacob Wilson hits for power. And if he hits for any sort of power, like this guy is going to hit for the rest of the time. I love watching him hit. And
He's
it's
fun.
and I think it's so cool too that every single time there's a 3 ball count once a month for him, it's big news because this guy's just aggressive and he's hitting everything. outside of the zone, in the zone, velo, soft stuff, doesn't matter. The guy just hits, and he's going to hit probably 10 to 15 home runs. We're probably hitting 300 while playing good defense. Like, we already got a guy. Already got a guy.
He adds a fun layer because they have so many sluggers and just mashers and big swingers that you have somebody that can spray the ball in a Jacob Wilson. It's just this lineup. I could watch them play all the time.
Yeah.
It is really fun to watch. The one takeaway I have from the White Sox side, and I just don't understand what's happening here. They have prospects, and I would literally just bring up any random prospect and see how he could do at this point. I just don't understand how they can continue to give reps to Jacob Amaya, who I believe is 0 for his last 20, something close to that. And he's on the season in 54 plate appearances, slashing 082, 111, 102. It's a 213 OPS. I just they have some young guys. I'd love to see get more reps. He was taking reps away from Chase Mydroth early in the season. It's just I just don't really know what they're doing there, and they're playing him at like shortstop some games. I know Coulson Montgomery's struggling in AAA. Shit, I'd almost rather just see what he could do at the big league level and see if something clicks for him there, working with the big league staff and things like that. I don't know. I don't really get that side of things. And they've got like Brian Ramos in AAA right now. I understand he's struggled through stretches. It's a better option than what you got there. So that's part of the thing I don't understand there. But otherwise, I mean, the Athletics are going to keep mashing, and it's just a matter of can they get enough quality starts out of guys. Severino keeps doing his job, but I'm with you. Like if Springs doesn't get it right here, I think they might need to consider maybe just kind of sending him down to work on things or something because it's been really really rough to watch.
I actually disagree with that White Sox point that you made. The White Sox I know should be having Corey Lee really man the catcher role. Like Edgar Caro is hitting the ball too well. Like
Yeah.
this is too good of baseball for the White Sox that I know. So I kind of agree. Give Michael A. Taylor 162 games in the outfield. Keep all of these guys in, and let's see if we can break that record from last year. Because
Yeah.
these young guys, they're too good. They're going to start making us win. I don't want to do any of that.
Yeah, they're not ready yet either. I
Yeah.
know one of the things for them was they wanted the young pitchers working with like more veteran catchers before Caro. Like who gives a shit? Bring
Talking
he
about.
needs to throw to Caro anyways for the next 5 6 years. Get him up there, and since he's been up there, he's been one of their best hitters. So I'd never follow the rationale over there.
Yeah, keep Kyle Teal down in AAA.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
want to
no.
see him. I don't want to see him. All right, let's go to Phillies versus Cubs. As we know, we're recording right during Sunday Night Baseball, so we'll update you on how Game 3 is going. Game 1, Cubs win 4-0. You'd expect Taijuan Walker versus Colin Ray start at Wrigley to be wild, but this one was the complete opposite because Colin Ray just continues to prove the doubters wrong. Another 5 inning shutout lowered his ERA to 0.96 through his first 19 innings of work, and nobody hit a home run, which is very rare for Cubs games these days. But Ian Happ, John Birdie, and Seiya Suzuki all had 2 hit days. We moved to game 2. Here's the crazy game. Phillies win 10-4, and if you can believe it, it was 0-0 going into the fourth. The Phillies offense, though, fully broke out against Ben Brown in the fourth. Max Kepler broke it open with an RBI single, and then the runs just kept flowing. The classic Philly outburst. Bohm, Rojas, Stott, Harper. Everybody is driving in runs. Now, Seiya Suzuki stayed hot, drove in 3 of the Cubs' 4 runs, but the Phillies would just not be denied in this one as they kept piling it on, highlighted by Max Kepler's second home run of the season. Jesus Luzardo, great again. 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs. None of them were earned, though. With 5 strikeouts, his ERA is down to 1.73. And then right now, I'm looking at Sunday night baseball between the Phillies and the Cubs. It is 1-1 in the seventh. I kind of want to end this episode so we can go watch the rest of
Yeah,
it. Aaron Nola fucking shoved
you
seven
needed that.
innings, 3 hits, 1 earned, 6 strikeouts. And Jameson Taillon shoved too, almost the exact same line. 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned, 2 strikeouts. Um, any takeaways from the first 2 games of the series?
Luzardo, man, he just keeps doing it. And I know the big story was, oh, the Cubs almost had a deal for him, balked at the medicals, whatever. Uh, it probably stings a little extra when he then goes and shoves it at your home field. And it, I mean, it's been wild to see how good he looks. Like we know he's that kind of guy, and it's just seeing him healthy. It's just a reminder that when this guy is healthy, he's as nasty as just about anybody. So I'm really pumped for him and seeing him have that success. And I mean, it hasn't been clicking on all cylinders pitching wise for the Phillies. So like, it's been huge to be able to get that out of Luzardo. But yeah, I mean, every Cubs game, they got to be one of the more fun teams to watch in baseball right now, though, because you're going to get runs left and right, and it's going to be pretty fun to watch. I think you look at this Cubs team though, and you see their record, and it's like, oh my gosh, if they had Luzardo, what could be? But Phillies are what 14 and 13, and the Cubs are 17 and 11, so it's working out for them. But I do wonder if it's going to push them to be a little bit more aggressive come deadline time to go get that arm finally.
So, besides my hometown Yankees, because I don't include them in this exercise, I think the three most fun teams to watch in baseball right now: Cubs number one, Giants number two, Tigers number three. Those are my three right now that I'm not missing a game.
Cubs, I can't miss right now.
Can't
It's
miss.
just it's too fun. And it's part of that's because of the pitching. Sometimes just giving it back up, but it's just too much fun to watch. And I love because of the prospect intrigue and just the young player intrigue, watching the A's as well.
Oh yeah,
But something about the AAA park will piss me off sometimes when I'm watching that. Just seeing a foul ball go into like half empty seats in
yeah.
a AAA stadium. It's like that part's a little weird, but yeah, I could watch them play all the freaking time. Yeah, I don't know if I have any other major takeaways because I mean the Cubs are playing ball, and I think that's the most exciting thing is you see the obvious area where you need to address. It's just more pitching reinforcement, but clearly that Kyle Tucker acquisition has just vaulted this offense to another level where he's so dynamic and I think it just is bringing out the best of these other guys too, but also some younger players who just continue to get better. Just getting some guys healthy. Like this is a good offense that I don't think is going to slow down much. So you might as well try to fortify that pitching staff a little bit more once, trade season comes around.
And that'll do it for the weekend roundup. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed. And if you did, the best way to support, rate and review Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your shows, as well as subscribing, liking, and commenting on our YouTube page. If you're interested, check out our Discord, the best baseball group chat in the world. You can find the link in the episode description. You can also find another link in the episode description with our merch store. Arm already mentioned it. New revamped store. Love all the stuff. You can go get yourself a hat or you go get yourself anything that we have down there at the merch store. For Arm Lane, I am Peter Appel. Of course, we're going to see you tomorrow. And with that, thank you, everybody.